Okay, so I would like to talk to you about an alternative to using the terminal to issue commands against AWS. And this is using CloudShell. So CloudShell is this icon right here on the top right corner of your screen. And if you don't see it, just make sure you check out the CloudShell availability regions because it's not available everywhere. And so if you go to the AWS CloudShell FAQ, you can see that there are some regions that's not available. So let's have a look right now with the regions. Here we go. Question 3. Right now that I'm recording, it's only available in one of these regions. So by the way, I would recommend if you want to follow along to just use one of these regions then, so you can use CloudShell. But if you don't use CloudShell in this hands-on, that is completely fine. If the terminal was working for you, do not worry, you're good to go, okay? So we have CloudShell in here, and within CloudShell, it can take a minute maybe to launch your environment. You can issue commands. For example, you can issue the AWS command. So as you can see, it is installed. If I do AWS version, as you can see, I'm on version 2.1 right now using CloudShell. So CloudShell is basically a terminal in the cloud of AWS that's free to use, okay? So the cool thing about CloudShell is that whenever you are using the CLI, so for example, AWS IAM list users, this is going to return for you an API call as if the credentials being used were the credentials of the account of you using the cloud right now, which is why the API calls are working. And by default, you can specify any kind of region you want to do the API call using the -- region argument. But in CloudShell, the default region is going to be the region you're currently in, logged in right now in CloudShell. So this is another thing that's good to know. Okay, other things that you should know about CloudShell is that you have a full repository. So for example, right now, as we can see, we have 0 files within CloudShell. But if you just do echo test into demo.txt, this is going to create a text file that contains the word test. And so it turns out that if you happen to restart your CloudShell, then this file will stick. So all the files you are creating within your CloudShell environment, for example, this demo.txt, are going to stay. And the other cool thing you can do about CloudShell is that you can configure it. So you can say what font size you want, smallest, medium, large, and so on. The theme you want, so light or dark, if you want safe paste or not. So this is like a bigger CloudShell for me right now. And also you have the possibility to download and upload files. So for example, if I want to get the full path to my file, so this demo.txt, I can just copy it right now, action and download file, and then do demo.txt, and this will go ahead and download the file for me. And alternatively, you could upload your own files into your CloudShell environments. So I want to show you these handy options because for me, they're lifesavers, okay? And finally, if you wanted more tabs into this environment, you could have a new tab. You can split into columns, for example, and there you go. You have 2 terminals into CloudShell connected at the same time. So really, I want to show you the power of CloudShell in this hands-on. Again, you don't need to know all the commands I just did. I just wanted to show you, if you're a power user, that you could do these commands and how they would work with CloudShell. So the bottom line for this lecture, again, is number 1, CloudShell is only available in some regions. So maybe try to choose one of the regions where CloudShell is available if you want to use it. If you don't want to use CloudShell or CloudShell is not working for you, this is completely fine as long as you use the terminal the way we configured it from before. This will work just fine, and you will be fine in the course to either use CloudShell or your terminal to perform the commands with the CLI against AWS, okay? And also remember that I really like the upload and download feature of CloudShell to the upload files and download files from it, okay? So that's it for this lecture. I hope you liked it, and I will see you in the next lecture.